So I saw Final Destination Bloodlines this past Saturday night, and here's going to be a spoiler-free review. Now, I didn't see a trailer for this film until I saw it play with Thunderbolts a few weeks ago, which shows how much this film wasn't on my radar. I say that because I hadn't seen prior to this film any of the Final Destination films before. Contrary to popular belief, I haven't seen every franchise, and Final Destination was just one of those franchises I missed out on. But I knew the basic gimmick of the series. In these films, you can apparently be killed by ordinary objects in a Rube Goldberg, Looney Tunes, or Tom and Jerry trap-type fashion. But when I saw the trailer for the new film Bloodlines, I thought it did look pretty impressive. So impressive that I didn't want to just jump into the new installment blind. So I watched the first Final Destination film from 2000, and it's definitely a unique horror film experience, where it's a slasher film type structure, except there's an invisible, ominous threat all around you. That's all I had time to watch, which was the night before, believe it or not. And I didn't read up on any of the sequels. In fact, it wasn't until doing this review that I read up that the last installment of the franchise was released in 2011. Clearly, a decade plus absence made audiences, and more importantly Warner Brothers, crave putting out another installment. I saw the film on Saturday night in a packed IMAX auditorium. In this film, death comes for the bloodlines of a family whose grand ancestor stopped a horrific catastrophe. Even though I'm happy I found time to watch the original installment first, Bloodlines is a standalone sequel, meaning you don't have to have watched any of the previous installments to understand how this film plays out. I'm glad, though, I did watch the first film to understand how death will with you, and to understand why you should feel tense when these situations start to escalate. The escalation starts quickly in this film, because the opening of this movie was incredible. It's an elaborate sequence in a high danger zone that's just the ultimate invitation for things to go sideways. Just the scale, effects, and most importantly the kills were excellent. Not to mention it just looks spectacular in IMAX, along with a few other scenes throughout the film. And I was of the belief that if the movie was going to be another hour and a half of this, it was going to be one memorable time at the movies. Understanding the conspiracy of how death works leads to the paranoia from the group of characters we see after the opening sequence. Some feel the urgency more quickly than others. The main character is Stephanie, a likable girl all throughout this movie, who experiences dreams and visions of death in the same vein as the protagonist we saw in the original film. You learn quickly that death isn't random. There's a method to all this madness, leading to some excellent OMG gotcha type kills. The build-up and uh-oh feeling when you have characters in dangerous situations is just so much fun. These scenes are beautifully gory, don't hold back, and the payoffs of every single element that's part of the scene was just brilliant. There's great fake-outs all throughout this movie, to where you think you know how a death trap scene will play out initially, but then the scene goes in an entirely different direction to always keep you guessing. After this film, I had to get every penny that I had the out of my apartment. But what really elevated the fun in this movie was how the characters reacted to these situations, being it was an entirely realistic reactions. It's natural for a lot of the supporting characters to have a yeah, go yourself reaction when they hear about Stephanie's grand elaborate death conspiracy, and that's even after one or two crazy situational deaths. But after the third or fourth death, everyone realizes, uh-oh, yeah, better take what's going on seriously. But these realistic reactions are what make you care for the characters. It's what was my major complaint about the recent horror movie The Monkey, which I enjoyed, but no one in that movie was acting, well, human or taking anything seriously, and every single line was intended to be like the funniest thing ever when it came to the comedy. This movie's main comedy relief comes from a male character with a nose piercing, but his comedy was subtle and naturally in the flow. They do have some great gotcha moments with this character, in more ways than one. Although probably my only big issue with the movie was how the hell he got out of a tricky situation he found himself in. Come to think of it, the other slight complaint I have was me being a bit confused about the family ties here. When we have characters who are clearly a different ethnicity, yet everyone's related somehow the marriage ties kind of went over my head throughout the film. Despite that, the experience of death is a sight to behold all throughout this film. It reminded me of the paranoia feeling I felt watching Smile 2. Not quite on the psychological level, but the fact that the most terrifying threat is one that you can't see. And the escalation of the situations and where the paranoia takes the characters was wonderful. Well, wonderful for the audience, not the characters so much. But to sum it up, this movie was absolutely legendary. I loved this movie, and made me want to check out the remaining 4 Final Destination installments I haven't seen. I doubt they're nowhere near as great as this film, but that goes to show what an amazing franchise revival this was. In addition to being a nice farewell to franchise star Tony Todd, who passed away last year, and this film gives him a nice farewell to all he's meant to the legacy of this franchise. So that'll do it for this review of Final Destination Bloodlines. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.